What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. We're going to be breaking down our futures contract per usual. We're going to be looking at everything from the daily to the weekly, and then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of our 30-minute time frame. We're going to go over things in a series of steps. We're going to start off with looking at the daily. We'll look at the weekly, then we'll look at the 30-minute time frame, and kind of dive in depth on what I'm thinking the market's trying to do. Overall today and the last couple days have been very volatile, wide ranges, people getting stopped out left and right. You got to wear your hard hats on, got to have your hard hats on whenever we're in these situations. Fed was today, obviously no rate cuts or rate hikes, etc. Nonetheless, things remain the same, right? We're going to keep on chugging along. The market's going to do what it wants to do, and it's going to matter when it wants to matter. So let's go ahead and break down our daily time frame right quick. Look at our daily, and then we'll look at our weekly and kind of show what's going on there. So right here, we're looking at our daily time frame. You have in blue the 9 simple moving average. Purple is the 50 simple moving average. Yellow is the 20 simple moving average. All right. So today we opened up with a gap above yesterday's high, and look at how all these highs right here. Look at how close all these highs were. So we gapped above them, held all the highs here, even held the gap that we had above today's high, got above the 99 simple moving average finally. And whenever we finally did that, we broke out of balance to the upside. Now we bumped our head against the 20-day moving average. Not only did we bump our head against the 20-day moving average, we just missed filling the gap. We had a little bit of a gap here that we have yet to completely fill. I'll show you guys that in more detail on the 30-minute time frame. However, after getting holding above the 50-day moving average, getting above the 9-day moving average, and breaking out of balance after taking back yesterday's trend day down, it was a double distribution trend day down, presented an excellent opportunity to get long against the balance low down here at 54.3250. Very, very good opportunity to get long, and was a massive failure by the sellers yesterday. Massive failure by the sellers yesterday. I mean, they pushed this thing, had an outside day down yesterday, pushed it down to the balance low, only to open up with a gap today above the 9 and break out of balance to the upside. So buyers are doing the first step that is necessary to get this market chugging along back to the upside. They have broken the balance that we've been in on the daily. All right. And now we are one time framing up, meaning we're setting a series of higher highs and higher lows now to the upside. All right. Now we need to find acceptance above the 20-day moving average. We need to fill this gap here. And once we fill that gap, we can target the gap up here and ultimately target the all-time highs. Now, in order for us to do that, we do have to continue to one time frame up and hold above 55.50. In my opinion, we hold above 55.50. We can continue to target last week's high. Last week's high was 56.2975. All right. So if we take out 56.2975 this week, we'll be coming back into a balance. Now, we still have 2 trading days left. It can happen. Not saying it's going to happen with the way things kind of chopped around today late. However, it is a possibility that we can go and get that. It's only, 100 points higher. We can do that, right? Easily. In 2 days, 50-point moves have not been uncommon. So we can go and take out that high. That is the next step in the buyer's to-do list, right? First step was taking the daily back into one time framing up, breaking out of the balance. The next step would be putting the weekly back into a balance, and then ultimately keeping the monthly one time framing up by taking out this month's high. All right. So steps slowly, right? You gotta have the steps in that are involved in order to get this market moving back to the upside. So first step was coming out of balance to the upside. Second step would be taking out a previous week's high, putting it back into a balance, and then you would target obviously those highs up here, right? You would target the gaps and then the highs on the upside. But in order for that to happen, in my opinion, we definitely need to hold above 55.50. Okay. Just from a support and resistance area. Look at the support and resistance that's been played over the last several days, right? Found some sellers up here around the 55.30 level, rotated back down into the 54.40s, right? Presented excellent opportunity to buy around the 54.40s, which resulted in a break above resistance and then ultimately a break above our balance high on the daily. Okay, so very, very good move and good job by the buyers so far. They're not out of the woods yet. They still have to take out a weekly high in order for us to continue to move up to the upside. Now, we're looking at our 30-minute time frame, and you can see yesterday how we had single prints to the downside. Those got taken back as we opened above with a gap above yesterday's high, which was 55.2750. We opened above that, took out these other daily highs, and then we got into the gap, and that gap does not get filled until 55.94. We just barely miss filling that gap. 55.8850 was today's high. 55.9450 was where we barely miss filling in that gap. So these single prints, they don't matter. They're gone. And we're just going to quickly mark up our 30-minute time frame and then just roughly review. I don't know why that's that color. Change that. Quickly review everything that we just discussed. So, like I said, major failure by the sellers yesterday. They had an outside day down with a double distribution day to the downside, several sets of single prints, and failed to take out the balance low. Even today, failed to open inside the lower distribution and take back the sets of single prints here and begin one-time framing down. Instead, they gave it all up, opened with a gap. Buyers were very happy, caused a little bit of a short squeeze early in the morning, some consolidation prior to the Fed, and then boom, here's the volatility that we got. With all that volatility, we did set a new high on the day, but we never set a new low on the day. So very positive for the buyers. Once again, held the gap. Okay, cannot stress that enough. Held the gap. There have been 36, 35 something odd gaps, and we've held 10 of those so far this year. Let me finish typing this in. So yeah, held the gap. Gap gets filled. 55.2750. Now we set a high up here late in the day after setting an afternoon pullback low at 55.3950, which means we were pushing up higher. And then as we pulled back in, we had an area that we found support. So tomorrow, area of interest for me is definitely going to be a hold above 55.3950 if we pull back to this area, right? You want to see if there are any buyers there like there were today, which resulted in a, right, whenever you have a level of significance like this, you want to see if they do pull back to this, how they react to it. And as there was buyers today at that area, there could have been buyers. There could be buyers there tomorrow, as it's just slightly below value low. We set a 12Y point of control, so that means there was a lot of chop and a lot of volume packed in, right around this 57 or 55, 57, 75 level. Okay, so just slightly 7 points above 55.50. Like I said, I think that's going to be a very key area to hold above tomorrow, right? Obviously, if we don't hold above 55.50 tomorrow or hold above 55.57 tomorrow, you will test 55.39. That will be your last line in the sand. And then ultimately, if you take that back, you will come back into a balance. But we're not looking for that, right? If you're a buyer, if you're a bull, you're looking for us to hold that 55.57 level and then continue to push on up higher. So we have a 12Y point of control here, which means 12 out of the 13 time frames, the 30-minute time frames of the day, traded back and forth through that area, packed in a lot of volume within that area. Okay, so that will not be easy to get through come tomorrow if we do pull back to that area. Now, 55.8850 was today's high, slightly missing the gap fill, so we still have where the gap starts here, high day, that we are looking forward to filling come tomorrow, right? Definitely want to see that happen. So gap starts, and then that gap gets filled here. We need to label that. I forgot to label that back today. All right. So tomorrow we look to hold above 55.57.75. If we do not, we will pull back to that 55.39.50 and test that level. If we can't hold there, then the downside gap gets filled at 55.27.50, putting the daily back into a balance. If we do hold tomorrow 55.57.75 over and above it, and we take out today's high 55.88.50, the gap should get filled at 55.94. Then you target the price probe at 56.03.50, which should act as some type of resistance, as you do have another wide point of control up here, 11 wide point of control at 56.12 from this day here, right? We had 11 wide point of control, chopped around a lot. That won't be easy to get through, but it will act as a magnet. So if we take out today's high with any volume, any push, we should test that level right there. And if we do push through it, 56.17.75 afternoon rally highs, your next destination, then 56.29.75, the high day from there. And then you start eating into, or attempting to get into that upper distribution back from the 18th that starts at 56.43.25. Okay. So, and then obviously begin to grind up higher towards these gaps on the upside. So first step for the buyers tomorrow is hold above 55.50, take out the day's high, fill the gap, get to that 11 wide point of control, and then move on up higher. Once again, let's recap the daily. Wants to hold the 9, get above the 20-day moving average. 55.89 is where that 20-day moving average is located. Let's see if that correlates with any of our resistance on the upside. 55.89. So that was basically today's high. So tomorrow we want to get above today's high and hold above it, which that will be the 20-day moving average. We can get above that, we should get a pretty good move into that 56.12 level, and then begin to target last week's high at 56.29.75, which is the high day from the 23rd, which is that day here, right? If we can eat through that 56.12, 11 wide point of control, you'll test the weekly high there at 56.29. It's not impossible for us to do, okay? If we fail to hold, maybe we just chop around some more around this 55.50 level, right? There's a lot of volume that needs to be packed in, a lot of price discovery that needs to be packed in around this 55.50 and 55.80 level before we potentially move on up higher. We could see some chop tomorrow, have an inside day, and then come Friday, look to break out of that inside day to the upside, if that is the scenario. Now, we're just throwing out scenarios, not saying it's going to happen, but that is how I'm seeing it. Ultimately, the first step has been achieved, and I think we can begin to squeeze out a lot of these shorts, right? If you were short on this gap and the test of that gap on the push back up, if you were short from 56.60 all the way down to 54.32, you were in the money pretty good, right? You were targeting that 50-day moving average. You were exiting your position and potentially looking to get long against that 50-day moving average. All those shorts that did not take their profits there are most likely going to be taking their profits now, as they're still in the money. However, they're giving back more on the upside, right? You don't want to reload up on shorts as the daily's one time framing up. Now you might even stop out above 56.29. So maybe that'll be another stopping point if we take out that 56.29 level on the upside. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Hopefully this video helps you guys out. This is how I think it's going to go. This is how I view it. Definitely the swing trade that I'm in is looking to work out. Like I said, we're taking those 600 September 30th calls. They were at 30 cents. They're now at 50 cents. Looking for those to become in the money down the road. So hopefully that will be the case. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, all have a wonderful day. Catch you guys in the next one. See you.